everyone. Welcome to MCSRC's Equipment and Material Informational video. This video presentation and supporting materials were developed to help requesters improve their ability to navigate through completing MCSRC equipment request form, optimizing the chance for their pre-licensure nursing programs to be awarded equipment and materials by MCSRC. MCSRC faculty and staff are joined by University of Maryland University's at Shady Grove faculty members as video participants. Please take time now to print out MCSRC's equipment and material form with its corresponding rubric, which can be found on MCSRC website. Hi, Nicole and Sabrina.
Hi, Monica.
Hi, Monica.
Now that MCSRC has completed its first round of rewarding equipment and materials throughout Maryland State, we are excited to discuss lessons learned, adjustments, and tips to make next year even better. Nicole, how many schools submitted equipment and material award applications during the 2015-16 term?
Yes, we actually received 13 applications from both community colleges and universities last year.
Wow. Since you were the front line of receiving applications, what were some similarities or differences you noticed in comparing applications?
Yes, so one of the biggest similarities I noticed last year was that many people submitted their applications in the last week of the deadline of the application. And so what I want to urge people is that make sure you give yourself enough time to submit your application, just in case there's any discrepancies with your application. You'll have that cushion to go back and correct it.
Interesting. Nicole, did any schools make calls into MCSRC with questions about the application or its corresponding rubric? If yes, did requesters go away feeling more informed with explanation or clarification?
Yes, so one of the major things I've noticed from a lot of the applicants were questions about how to submit their quote. For example, some people would forward MCSRC an email quote that they received from a vendor stating simply the price of an item that they were requesting. So we know that you're supposed to submit an official quote on official vendor letterhead to complete your application. So again, that's why I urge, if you do all this early, if something like that should happen,
Yes.
we can let you know, hey, you're missing a piece, and you'll have enough time to get all the information that you need.
Very good, very good. So Sabrina, we've heard that MCSRC has external reviewers who are responsible for reviewing equipment and material applications. Please tell us about the Anonymous 3 and their role in ranking requesters.
Thank you, Monica. Yes, we do indeed have 3 external reviewers. They receive all of the applications. What the MCSRC does is they will bundle parts of your request so that, for example, if you ask for a simulator, we would also bundle the training with it. So when the reviewers get that, they will look at it as one entity. From each external reviewer looks at all of the applications independently initially, and then they review it, they score it, and then collectively the 3 of them get together and they then make the decisions on who's going to receive the awards.
Great, great. Did MCSRC receive feedback from the external reviewers after they completed the ranking? What were some things that they identified to help MCSRC improve processing?
The reviewers did have a lot of comments, and they were very beneficial to all of you who are listening to this video. The first thing that they had talked about was the statement of need, and they said that a lot of the applicants said that they needed the equipment, but they didn't necessarily say why they needed the equipment. So if you could include things such as in your operational budget, if you lost or your grant funding completed, that you then would need this piece of equipment because you didn't have the budget any longer to support more purchases. Additionally, you could add information if your program was in an underserved area. Perhaps you didn't have a lot of hospital or clinical time for your students, so you could supplement with simulation and you would need this equipment for that purpose. Another piece that they had, or the next area, was looking at the intended use and how would you apply the information to your application for curricular impact. And you need to discuss how many courses are impacted. If you did a curriculum review, if there was a gap in the curriculum, that simulation was the only thing that would fulfill that need, that this would be why you would need that piece of equipment. I think importantly is when you're writing your application, the words are limited, the number of words we limit them so that the reviewers don't have to read along many pages. So each sentence really has to have a purpose, and when you construct it, you want to be sure that you keep in mind that the reviewer doesn't know who you are, and you would like to make sure that when they're reading your application, remember they're reading other people's application as well.
Good.
Monica?
Great. So this has been a great interview, ladies. Thank you for sharing this very useful information with everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please join me, Mary, Pat, and Nicole.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Monica. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you guys?
Good.
Thanks to both Nicole and Mary Pat for being active participants in all aspects of MCSRC. So ladies, we know MCSRC awarded 5 Maryland schools, community colleges, and universities a total of $250,000 worth of equipment and materials during the 2015-16 term. Since the results for your school, universities at Shady Grove, were so good, we're excited to discuss your experience. Please describe for us how you handled your application.
So once the equipment and material form was posted, we, with faculty input, developed a wish list for equipment, and then we began to contact vendors. And make sure you give yourself a little turnaround time with that, because the vendors sometimes take a little while to get back to you.
Sure.
So that was how we kind of started the process.
Very good. Did you have any problems with the equipment and materials application? If yes, what did you do?
No major problems, but at first when we were ready to hit the submit button, then we went back and read through everything one more time, and we noticed that there was a word limit, as Sabrina mentioned before. So we had to go back and revise every single application that we had submitted to shorten the word limit to meet the criteria based on the rubric. We also added a cover letter. We did it at the end, and then as Nicole mentioned, we had to submit the quotes separately, and they had to be on official letterhead from the vendors. That was something we had to go back and kind of redo and revise. That added a little bit of time, but no major problems, just minor things.
Very good, very good. We expect that simulation faculty and staff are extremely busy. How long did you give yourselves to complete the application?
So, and we understand that a lot of people in the sim lab are very busy. So we basically gave ourselves about 1 to 2 weeks to prepare. It wasn't the full 1 to 2 weeks, but if we had to count it up in total hours, we would say it was about 32 to 40 hours of work to actually finish the whole grant application. And, like Nicole said, go back and with the word limit, get everything on the proper letterhead. And so yeah, it is a little bit, so plan for some uninterrupted time to dedicate to writing that.
Interesting. Were there any curriculum considerations made in regards to deciding what to ask for from MCSRC? Did you engage faculty at any level when considering what exactly to request?
Absolutely. So we submitted for about 20 items. So it just so happened that we had a faculty meeting before the application was due. So we opened it up to our faculty members and asked, was there anything that they wanted, anything that they wished for? And like MCSRC has told us, there's nothing too small or too big. So we ended up submitting for about 20 items in the end. And we have increased our enrollment over the past 2 to 3 years. We've also increased the amount of simulation in our curriculum, so that had a heavy impact on what we requested for.
Wow. Thanks for sharing. The last request that I have for you is to provide listeners with a few tips that you've learned either from actually receiving an award or hearing from other awardees.
So one lesson learned for us, which is the big takeaway, is that we are used to asking for refurbished equipment from our vendors, and that's because we're using this equipment on our mannequins or not used on actual people, and also things, as most of you know from the state, anything over $5,000 have to go out to procurement. So in our normal fashion, we ask for refurbished equipment, and we wish that we would have asked for brand new equipment, because we have to think about this grant as anything you want you can ask for, and our wishes were granted, but we could have had the opportunity to get new equipment versus the refurbished equipment that we received for some of the items.
Another thing I would add, that once you hear that you're granted the award, is to notify your school of the award, notify your dean or department chair that the award was granted and the equipment that you received through the award. One thing, lessons learned after, is we don't have a loading dock or a freight elevator here at our school. So one thing that we had to go back on is to include white glove service because the beds would not, that we got an OB bed and it wouldn't fit on our elevator. So you kind of want to measure or plan for that. And we had to renegotiate for some of those items.
Wow.
Well, great interview, ladies. Thank you for sharing this very useful information with everyone.
You're welcome.
MCSRC is dedicated to supporting all requesters and helping Maryland pre-licensure nursing programs navigate through this process for optimal results. Please feel free to contact us with questions or comments at any time. Thank you, and make it a great sim day.